Welcome to SolidCAM Professor. I'm Sydney, your SolidCAM Professor, and in this session we'll be doing part 1 of our lessons on drilling operations. As you can see in this part, there are holes such as the one on top, which have to be drilled out, which is actually an M3 tapped hole. And we also have regular holes over here that have to be drilled out, and stepped holes over here that have to be drilled out as well. We'll start off with our operation of drilling these series of holes on top. So we'll start with our operation of drilling, and then we'll go to choosing our geometry. In our geometry area, before we actually do define, let's just take a look at this little arrow that's on the side of the define button. If I have to click on it, this gives us the option of either choosing our drill points on a specific plane, or if we're working on a round fourth axis part where the fourth axis home position is in the middle of the part, then we can do a round fourth axis. The default is plane, and this is what I want to do in this case. I'll simply click now on define, and now we have our options for picking our drill points. Now what I'd like to do is to choose these 4 drill points over there. So I'll choose the option of multi-position, and by simply clicking on this face, I automatically get those 4 holes that are on that surface. And I'll simply accept this. If I want, by the way, I can also change this name, and I will in this case. And I'll change the name to M3. This way I know what geometry we're talking about, what holes we're talking about. The next thing I have to do is to choose a tool. So I'll select and create a new tool using a spot drill to go down into those holes to create the start drill, the center drill for that for those holes. And I'll use a 6mm spot drill with a 90-degree angle on the tip itself. Next, I'll go into my levels area. Now, in my levels area, I have my upper level being the top surface over here. And now we have our drill depth. Now what I'd like to do with my drill depth is actually have it go down, that my spot drill will actually leave it just a small chamfer on the edge of that 3mm hole. So I can either start calculating how deep I have to go according to the angle, or I'll just fill in the drill depth as the same as my upper level itself. But what I'll do is simply choose the option of diameter value. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in the diameter value of 3.4. And what's going to actually happen now is as follows. The spot drill will be going down, and when the diameter of 3.4 on that spot drill reaches the 0 level, that will be the exact depth that I need on the part itself. My next area is my technology area. My drill cycle type, I will be using regular drilling. In other words, going down and simply going up. When I do save and calculate and simulate, we'll take a look now also at the Solid Verify simulation. You'll note that the tool will go down, and you'll note that the depth, it automatically goes down to a depth of 1.7mm, automatically calculated from the depth that we had put into the depth area. Now for my next operation, I like to use a 2.5mm drill to drill out those holes. So I'll simply do save and copy, creating a new operation based on the old one. I'll go into my tool area, changing my tool to a new drill of 2.5mm. And in my levels area, I'll be going with my drill depth up until the very bottom of my hole itself, as shown over here, the very tip. And in this case, I'll be telling it not diameter value, but cutter tip of the tool itself to go down to that area. Now in my technology area, I'll change my drill cycle type from drilling to peck drilling. And In the data, I'll say, let's step down every 3 millimeters. Say OK. And now when I do save and calculate and simulate, again, using my solid verify simulation, you'll see that the tool will go down, and I'll do this one step at a time, and it's pecking its way down, then going to the next hole and doing the same on each one of those holes. Now in my next operation, I'd like to tap these holes. So I'll simply do again, save and copy. And this time when I create a tool, I will create a tap tool. So we'll go into tools now, select. When I go into add, I'll choose the option of a tap. Now when I choose a tap, I have the millimeter or threads per inch. I'm using millimeter. My pitch will be 0.5. My thread diameter will be 3. My tip diameter will be smaller than my thread diameter, so I'll make that 2 millimeters. Now you'll note when I go into my default tool data, my feed is automatically turned off. This is automatically calculated from my speed and my pitch. I'll simply say select my levels. I'll have my drill depth this time go down up until that circle over there, not to the very bottom. If I want, I can also do delta depth of, say, 0.3 millimeters, so it doesn't go exactly all the way down to the bottom over there. And in my technology, it's automatically put into tapping. All I have to do now is simply do save and calculate. And now we have our tap operation for these holes. This concludes part 1 of our lesson of drilling operations. Thank you for joining us on SolidCAM Professor. Take care and have a nice day.